Hey guys, I'm JanetOnOccasion, and today I want to talk about patch 1.1. Yes, so last week it got announced the patch 1.1 would be coming. Hooray! I hate it. I absolutely hate it. Which is weird because the changes that they're making will make the game better. So I should be happy, but I'm not. And I'll explain for why. So, I'm just going to be focusing on gameplay stuff. Obviously, bug fixes and things. Yeah, fixing bugs is good. Bugs are bad. Fix them, right? Stuff like that is good. Steam Workshop is hopefully going to be coming. Steam Workshop support, modding support for the game should be coming with this patch. There's a bunch of good things, right? But I'm specifically talking about the gameplay stuff today. Everything else, whatever, right? You can read the patch notes, links in the description. So, the Realm of Chaos has been one of the most prevalent discussion points amongst the community, and we're using this update to implement several bug fixes and gameplay tweaks that change how it fits into the mechanics of the game. This includes several key changes. Now, this is the stuff that I find very contentious. Straight away, the strength of the negative realm traits has been reduced roughly by 50%. Okay? Kind of admits that those are crap and that everyone hates them, so they've just made them less, which I think is just poor design, even though that technically is better because they do suck. They are obnoxious mechanics. They are very obnoxious and annoying. So, anyway, moving on. Demon Legendary Lords will no longer be burdened by the negative trait to their respective patron god. That, again, just implies they're just a burden, and they don't offer anything else meaningful to the game, or gameplay, or choices, or mechanics, or narrative, or anything, even though they should. Again, we'll get into that. Traits gained in the Realm of Chaos will now be removed when a Legendary Lord completes a survival battle within that realm. You're rewarded by not having to deal with the mundanity of dealing with that nonsense mechanic. Again, it's just admitting it sucks. It sucks. So they're getting rid of it, right? More rewards. Except with this, it means that the race that you're having with the other Legendary Lords, it just means you're going to creep ahead even further because they're going to be burdened with the things that they picked up. When you succeeded in doing the mission, they all got cast out of that realm. They're going to leave, they're going to take their insanities with them, which just means that you're compounding winning upon winning, which again, bad design. You want to really try and keep the pack together, or else one mission down and you're already winning, right? And that's likely to continue, which I think is bad, right? That is also just a bad thing. So when a player intercepts an AI Lord of the Forge of Souls, their souls will now be lost, forcing them to restart their collection. This should make it easier to disrupt the souls race. This I love, because actually if they are able to make the pack closer, which they're doing the opposite with this patch, so not great, it means you only have to fight them off once, right? Per their attempt at winning the campaign. And then they have to start all over again. But the fact is, there's so many people competing in the race. If you are behind, that means you're still having to basically take down a bunch of different folks, provided the pack is kept close together. But chances are this probably won't even happen because you're going to compound victories with this, which I think is a bit of a pity. It's going to be one of those things, I failed on the first soul, so I'll start the campaign again. And that's not very meaningful. So, let's carry on. The protection building chain can now be used to prevent rifts from spawning in the province which they are built. That's good. That I like. That is good. That means you have some agency over where the rifts are going to be, which is very important. I think there should be more agency. I want them to lean into this even more. I want to be able to force the event to happen sooner, so you can make the rifts happen sooner rather than waiting around twiddling your thumbs if you are just hoping to crack on with it. So I'd like to see not only stopping rifts from spawning in particular areas, but being able to trigger rift spawning in other areas too. I think that could be really rewarding. I think it could be really fun. And also just I mean, you could obviously do more battles by doing that, but also it lets you teleport from one place to another. So if you've already done the soul race and you've managed to get home early and there's still some souls open, some rifts open in other territory, maybe you could spawn a new rift and use that to teleport across the map, right? To go fight someone else while you're waiting for the next event to happen, to open up more rifts. There's interesting stuff there that could be played with. So the idea of some agency surrounding that mechanic, brilliant. They're onto something there. I want them to keep doing that. So credit where it's due with this. And then rewards for gaining souls have been improved by providing additional bonuses for a limited period of time. Shit. Awful. This is exactly what I'm talking about. They're compounding victories. So now, if you succeed in a mission, not only do you not have to deal with the negative traits, but you get a bunch of bonuses. So you get to ride that wave and make up for lost time. And that is the biggest problem, because it shouldn't be lost time. It should be fulfilling. It should be a rewarding experience. right? The whole Souls race thing. But at the moment, it is seen as so much of a burden that everything about it is being stripped away. And that is the trend that this patch is doing. So all those tedious elements are being stripped back, which will technically make the game better, but you're still dealing with them. So basically what you've got. Okay, now here's a very tenuous metaphor, okay? So buckle up. Think of Warhammer 3 as a coffee machine, okay? Or the Realm of Chaos, at least, as a coffee machine, right? It makes the best damn coffee. Or, I guess in this case, it makes quite average coffee, but you use it every morning. And what it does, right, it's got these mechanical arms. And when it's making the coffee for you, it punches you in the dick. So they've updated the firmware, right? They've given it a patch because they realised people didn't really like being punched in the dick. So now they've made it punch you in the dick half as often as it did. Technically, it's a better product. But at that point, you've just admitted that those mechanical arms are sort of there uselessly, when they could be doing something really interesting. So the general design ethos for the Realm of Chaos, I think, is that it's supposed to be an interesting narrative experience. The idea of picking up these insanities is that you can't go into the Realm of Chaos unscathed. It will always leave its mark, right? It's characterization for the Realms of Chaos, because they should be characters in this narrative in Warhammer. They should be characterized in an interesting way, and those traits are a way to do that. But the fact is, Chaos isn't that boring. They don't just do bad things. They do bad things ultimately. On balance, it's bad, but they also propagandize. They also tempt people. And for that, they give you something. It's always a Faustian bargain. It's always, oh yes, come to me. I'll give you a giant claw. Now, people might go, hang on, I don't like the look of that guy, he's got a giant claw. But on the plus side, you get to eviscerate those people, right? So there's a benefit to having a giant mutant claw. There's always something good to have. So they need to lean into that. So rather than making those traits feel more meaningful by giving them a good side as well as a bad side, they're just getting rid of them, but not completely. They've admitted they suck, which is why they're toning down every instance of them existing. But just get rid of them entirely. If that's the case, clearly people hate them because they've not landed in the way that they're supposed to. So what they're doing is they're trying to hang on to something that they liked without actually expanding that design space, actually expanding that mechanic into something that fits the gap that they had for it. So now they're basically just stripping back mechanics from a system that has the potential to be incredibly interesting. So where you've got the Chaos Realm traits, how about they always cause corruption, right? Because you are corrupt and you're the leader of a faction, so your decisions are always going to be impacted by whatever you've picked up, whether it be mutation or insanity. So how about they always spread corruption? So they're always a bit of a bad thing to have, and there is precedent for that. Every time you get like an item in the Realm of Chaos, whether it be like Khorne or Slaanesh's realms, you end up spreading corruption, right, of that flavour. As a result of wielding that thing. But the fact is, the weapons aren't the only things that are corrupt. You yourself are corrupt from having gone through that experience. You know, the insanities and the negative chaos traits that have been left on you, that is you being corrupt. And as a result of your position, that corruption would lead to further corruption of your kingdom. And that would be an interesting mechanic, right? But it might be something you want to manage, because they could put a bunch of interesting bonuses in there. So if you go to Khorne's realm, okay, you might be a absolute lunatic that just beheads people constantly now, right? At the slightest provocation, you call for the death penalty. Now, that could mean you could get, say, I don't know, death blow ability, right? Added in melee. That'd be really interesting, you know, in battle. But people don't like you. People don't like you so much. It could affect your diplomatic relations, as well as just spreading chaos, you know, generically, as they all should, because there should be a gauge of how corrupt you've become, right? But you might be in a position where you want to keep it now, because you're like, actually, I really like this ability. I really like the extra weapon damage it's given me, or whatever else. I don't mind if people don't like me as much, because I'm cozy here, and I can fight off anyone who may threaten me. So I'm happy to have these penalties. I can deal with the extra corruption, you know. I am making the choice to keep this trait because I want that bonus. Now that I think is really interesting, because that actually gives you positives and negatives to deal with, and it makes the end of the game much, much more interesting, because the prize at the end, spoiler warning everyone for the end game, right, when you complete the campaign, spoiler warning, leave if you don't want to know, Be'lakor joins your ranks. Makes no sense in most cases, because like, hang on, no, I've been playing the good guy, but actually you could be in a position where it's more evident that a mark has been left on you, regardless of what you've done, right? Regardless of the choice you've made. Just being in chaos has left something on you. You know, there could even be like a latent trait saying, you know, I got over it, but there could be some lingering effect as a result of having been there. So there's always some degree of corruption, even if it's just like a small amount of that positive trait that remains, just as like, you know, as a reward, but less as a temporary reward and more as a narrative, just sort of a lore-friendly, narrative-driven way to say, like, no, they've left a mark on you. Even if you've managed to, like, overcome the negative issues, you know, you have been forever left a mark. And, of course, it means that if it's through negative traits like that, well, currently they're negative, everyone can get access to them, whether they win or not, right? Whether they make it out of that, of the Chaos Realm, successfully defeating the Demon Prince or not. As long as you're in there, you're going to go crazy, and you might be left with something interesting, as a sort of a mark that's been left upon you, which I think is really cool. I think that's an interesting way to do it. And I think that's way better than just going, oh, they still suck, but now you have to deal with it less. Like, if they suck, just get rid of them. That would actually make this patch better. If they just said negative Chaos Realm traits are no longer in the game, it would actually be better than this patch that's been proposed, because they're still a shoddy mechanic. They're still like a half mechanic that everyone agrees sucks, but they've decided to limit it by half, because clearly they still want to use that design space, but they're not doing it in a meaningful way. So instead of making it more meaningful, they're just making it less, you know, present, which I think is a bad idea. So that's my issue with this. And yeah, I hope they improve it. But there's one other thing that I want to stress as well. So here, oh, hang on, no, go away, you, go away, Chrome, silly. So here we have a Miao Yin campaign, right? This is from my campaign, but several saves ago, because this campaign's finished. Go check it out on the channel. So we have the Chaos Realm traits, like UI. There's actually specific UI for this stuff. You can tell they wanted it to be a meaningful thing in the game. So just stripping it back like this is a real admittance that they did it wrong, which I think sucks. So here you can see melee defense minus 20%. I mean, it's staggering. We have no choice at this point. I mean, now it'd presumably only be 10%, right? Because they're making it less bad. But it still sucks. It's still annoying. There's not a choice here. It's still, oh, I guess I'll live with it, which is kind of tedious. Or you just have to babysit, you know, your lord. Just have them hang about at home for a while this goes away. But they have all this custom UI, right? They even have this thing down here. What if you could click on this, right? What if you could click on that, and a pop-up would come up saying, face your demons. Warhammer 3's tagline was, face your demons. You're not facing your demons, you're just facing demons. But this whole thing, they could expand into such an interesting mechanic, where you literally have to face your demons, right? So you click on that, and a demon army spawns, right? That conduit between you and the realm of chaos, that mark that has been left on you, allows them to come to being. Okay, you embrace it through, you know, the advisor's magic, right? He's able to bring that, like, to create a physical version of that taint that has corrupted you, and then you fight it. And then if you defeat it, if you defeat that army, the trait is gone. There you go. You get a choice now. You get a choice. And then you could even expand on that further. Say you defeat that army. It isn't just, brilliant, you got rid of the trait. What if it's, brilliant, you faced your demons, but what did you learn from this? Do you cast aside all, you know, all taint? Or do you keep some of that power for yourself? So you could end up with a position where you pick up some random insanity, right? You challenge that, the physical embodiment of that insanity, of that chaos corruption within you. You know, you expel it and then do battle with it, because it's Warhammer and that would be cool. And then you get to decide, you know what? I really liked having a giant claw, but maybe I could disguise it a bit better. Maybe I could have still the strength of that, but not the physical attributes, you know? Maybe I'll take the weapon strength and I'll keep that, but I'll get rid of the negatives, you know, to public order. But I'll keep a bit of chaos corruption, right? What if that's the trade-off? What if you would slowly build more chaos corruption in order to build the positive traits from this experience? It means that basically you would end up accruing a bunch of corruption, making the whole Bellicor thing make a lot more sense at the end of the campaign, because you have been corrupted and you've opted into being corrupt, right? Into having that corruption and going, you know what, I can handle it. It'd be this great slide into madness. It'd be this great sort of potential for a fallen hero dynamic, which I think would be really interesting narratively, but also gameplay-wise, because you could pick and choose. Do I want to be completely pure of heart and make sure that all Chaos Taint is burnt from my flesh, and, you know, I am left pure, as if I'd stepped into the flame of a Surian, or am I going to keep some of this power for myself, because, you know, people in Warhammer are just selfish. You know, they all crave power in one way or another, and if they think they can handle it, they will. That's how chaos takes hold. So what if we got to roleplay that experience? Because the tagline is fight your demons, and right now you're not fighting your demons, you're just fighting demons. And I think that's a shame. So that's my pitch, basically. They could make the mechanic meaningful rather than just removing it, because the natural evolution of the changes they are making with patch 1.1 is just to remove the mechanic entirely, because it is just an admittance that it's terrible. And in its current state, it is. It's just a chore. It just means you have to sit idle. It's an anti-gameplay mechanic, because it's a mechanic that literally stops you engaging in gameplay. Clicking end turn isn't a gameplay choice, right? A meaningful gameplay choice. Sending your troops out to go and conquer or defend your territory, that is something that is engaging. Having them just sit in a capital and clicking end turn is not, and that is what this mechanic does. So it is an anti-gameplay mechanic in its current method, which is why stripping it back does make the game better, but I think the potential is lost. I think that's a pity. So let me know what you think in the comments, and comment, like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one, I guess. Take care, guys.